It's not cutscene time. Hi, hello and welcome. Welcome back to episode 28, I believe it is, of the LEGO Harry Potter series, years 1 to 4. Going back outside again. I feel like we've been outside for the past 5 missions or something. Looks like we're headed over back to Hagrid's place. I always presume that we're going to Hagrid's when we're going this way, but it's not true. Oh, we haven't been here before, I believe, because this needs some... Reducto, is it? I think it was Reducto, this spell. Are you gonna commit suicide?
Suicide is badass!
I don't know what that was all about. Yeah, we haven't been here before. I don't know what's around here. Ooh, it is the lake, so this is gonna be the second challenge, huh? This is gonna be a cutscene, it has to be. There we go. Cedric? Everybody likes Cedric, as Victor. Fleur? Harry? Hey, do some weed, bro. It's really cool. Dunk. The Black Lake. There we go. Oh, we're playing together with Cedric now. That's cool. Looks like this is gonna be in just 2 dimensions because I can only move like left or right or up or down, but I can't come closer to the screen or move further away from it. Well, from the camera, I think I should say. Most of our coins get automatically picked up, which is also a nice change. This is gonna come up on Saturday, right? Yeah. It's Sunday right now. My previous video went up today. It was a really short one. Now, when recording that previous video, I said I had nothing planned on Sunday, but apparently my girlfriend is coming over today, so that's pretty nice. Bit of an impulsive decision on her part to just randomly come over, but it's gonna be fun for sure. So we took that pipe, and now we're like 1 layer more in front, if that makes any sense. We're 1 layer closer to the screen. I learned some new editing tricks today. I don't know if I'm really gonna be able to use them or to show them off, but my buddy CrowGrin actually helped me out. Some really cool stuff. For example, some tracking. That's something I can definitely just show off somewhere without actually making it useful. I just want to show you guys that I learned to do that. It's something that I already kind of did, but I used a very bad method of doing it. Like, I just applied keyframes all of the time instead of making something actually track. That probably doesn't make any sense to someone who doesn't know anything about video editing, so I'll try to explain it for a 5-year-old, which is not to be disrespectful to someone who doesn't understand. It's just a common way of saying that you're gonna explain something in an easier way, right? Explain like I'm 5. So tracking is the process in which you make your camera follow one specific object in the scene. Now, as I said, I used to do that with keyframes. Now, keyframes, that's a really interesting thing. How am I gonna explain that actually? Alright, imagine that your screen is zoomed in and you want to zoom out. But you don't want to zoom out like really quickly, you want to make it kind of a smooth transition looking thing. If you want to do that, you could add some keyframes. And keyframes are kind of like checkpoints. I think that's a intuitive way of thinking about it. They're kind of like checkpoints in the transition that you're making. So if I wanted to move my screen, for example, from all the way to the left to all the way to the right or something like that, I could add a keyframe in the middle of that so that I could like split up the process of moving from the left to the right into separate parts. I don't know if I'm making any sense. In my head, I'm making some sense, but it's quite difficult to explain something in a different way than the way you know it, if that makes any sense as well. Like, I have this idea in my head of what keyframes are, and it's hard to explain them without referring to that idea in my head. But the idea that I have in my head about them is formed by previous experience with keyframes, and people who don't edit videos won't have any experience with keyframes. So you gotta kind of adapt to your audience, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, normally I did it with keyframes. So if I wanted the screen to like follow, for example, Harry right here, I would apply a keyframe where the camera is zoomed in on Harry, and then I would go further a couple of frames, and then I would apply another keyframe. So I would actually just be applying like a lot of small little checkpoints where we follow Harry around, and all those checkpoints combined in a series, that makes it look like it's kind of smoothly following Harry around, but it doesn't ever look as smooth as it should be. I don't know how this guy has been down here without drowning, but sure. But now, with the thing I learned from my buddy CrowGrin, I can make it look a lot smoother. I will, just as an example, do it right here on Cedric. Watch this. See that? That's pretty cool, right? Like, the camera really does follow him around. Anyone who knows the story might be frowning a little bit at this, because Cedric and Harry working together, that's a bit strange. In the story, they actually didn't get along that well. Well, Cedric and Harry in person, they got along just fine, but the entirety of Hogwarts was definitely divided upon who they should support. And most of the people did choose to support Cedric in the end, and that means that they didn't support Harry. And the other thing CrowGrin taught me about editing today is using the colors page in DaVinci Resolve, which is the editing software I use. Another page that I had never used before. Normally I just use the edit page, which is used for like applying simple effects and cutting up your footage. And that's really the only part I've actually been practicing and started to get pretty good at, like cutting up the footage and pacing the episode, making sure that the chronological order feels nice and that the skips in time are okay and stuff. The insignificant parts get cut out and the significant parts get shown on screen for a decent amount of time, but not too long either way. I think that's something that I've become quite profound at, but there's still a lot more to learn. And the color page is one of those things that I still could do a lot of learning about. But as CrowGrin said to me, it's something that we as small YouTube video creators probably don't have to worry about all that much, because it's something to do really in-depth editing, like that colors page. But what he taught me with it is including footage that is recorded in front of a green screen. And that's something that I've really been wondering about how to do that. It's like sort of filtering out the background. That's what it's about. And now normally if I wanted to include like another video on top of the video that was already playing, I would just make the opacity less visible and I would make it a bit shine through the one that I wanted to be on top. And that worked, don't get me wrong. I mean, it looks fine most of the time, but if I actually want to do it like in a decent professional manner with the whole green screen thing and stuff, he showed me how to do that as well. So I'll show a cool little example of that as well right now while I'm talking. Really cool backflip, huh? So yeah, 2 new editing techniques. Moving on up in the world. Content keeps getting better and better. In the last couple of episodes I was also exploring the notion of getting some different kinds of transition in there with actually some sound when the scenes are switching. And I asked my buddy CrowGrin about that as well, what he thought about that, and we both agreed that it needs to be a bit faster. Like the transition itself needs to be a lot faster or a bit more blurry or something. It took too long. That's the main gist of what we decided upon. It took a bit too long. The sound was lined up almost perfectly with the transition itself, but that could use some work as well. But the transition itself definitely needs to be a bit faster. I think we're gonna get the true wizard in this one. I hope so, at least. We're pretty close. We're gonna put the crab on top of the bubbles, and that way that rock will probably fall down and crush that crab. That's pretty cruel, but okay. I don't condone crab cruelty in any shape or form. Oh yeah. That looks so hot. Gave the oyster her pearl back and she's clearing out the way for us now. That's great. Thank you so much. This is gonna be it? Still not. We are gonna get it though, right? Like this is not gonna be the end of the level, right? Oh, there we go. All right. I was worried for a second there because look how close we are to that true wizard. We're definitely gonna get it though. Should be really close now. Still not enough. Crumb shark. I swear to God, if we don't get the true wizard, I'm gonna be really upset. Well, no, I'm not gonna be really upset, but it would just suck. All right. I have no idea what we're doing. Ronald, what's happening? Oh, we just lift up the anchor like this. Please, please. Oh my god, we don't get it. We don't get the true wizard. This has to be like 99 or 98%, right? It can't be any less. Oh, or do we need to do this as well? Oh, please give me some coins. I beg you to... how is that possible? I don't believe it. I actually do not believe it. I don't believe it. Oh my god. That has to be like 99 or 98%. Alright, bit of a slut, but okay. Ron probably just came. Let me see, come on. Let me see. 98, 99, I believe it's gonna be 98% of the true wizard. Oh, you son of a...